All right, everyone. I'm here with our new co-host, Albin Boucher. Albin, say hello.
Hello, how are you? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So, Albin, we didn't get a chance to really, well, we connected offline, but we haven't connected online with respect to how your New Year's went. So, how was your New Year?
Man, my New Year's is quiet, reflective. Um, Nothing too crazy, man. Just really kind of stayed in the crib, watched Sopranos. I
Sopranos.
chilled with my cousin for a little bit. You know what I mean? Did that whole thing, but just kind of spent the night with a little libation, just chilled out, man. Nothing too crazy. How about yourself?
Okay. Well, when you said libation, what kind of libations?
Listen, man. I
Is
think
it
it
the
was a
margarita?
nah. I ain't do the. I love me a mug. I do the mugs, but a little bit of Taylor Port.
Okay. I see
Mhm.
you. A
Little
little
Taylor
something,
Port.
something.
Something nice, man. Bring the new year in nice. So
I
it was
feel
good,
you.
man. Good.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Mine's I don't want to go too much in because I felt like I kind of gave everybody the update last week, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty chill. It was me, my cat, my son. We went to go visit my mom. So,
Okay.
Sister Gladys always has something up her sleeve whenever we go visit her. So, it was
Yeah,
cool though. It was a good time.
yeah, I saw the footage. It's very interesting.
Yeah, my mother. I mean, there's. I always have this idea that I'm like, I'm gonna try to bring her on the show, but I just don't know. I don't know what what that will look like. I can't prepare you guys for what will happen if she comes on the show.
It's funny you say that. I like what first of all, shout out to Jackson Cherry. I like what Jackson's doing with his father on IG.
Hmm.
And like just has him on there just talking about like just some like straight up Haitian wisdom, like just things that
Right.
any Haitian person has heard growing up. But he's just saying it so forcefully and so like direct that
Aggressive.
just yeah, just like yeah, I've heard that before, and I'm like, okay, so I'm not crazy. Like everybody thinks like this, so it'll be
Right.
dope. I would love to hear what your mom would have to say.
Yeah, I wanted to. I mean, she's made, her debut on IG, normally during her birthday and some holidays, but yeah, I've been contemplating bringing her on the show, but I'm scared for myself because I just don't know what she's going to say.
Uh, there's always that X factor, yeah, of course.
Right. I hope business will be in these streets if I.
On second thought, no, we don't need mom to do stuff.
Listen, I might have to heavily edit that show.
Listen, man, yeah, you're right.
Oh
You're right.
man. But yeah, so that was pretty much it. I feel like everybody, let me not say that because I was watching IG. Some people were out here in these streets. I feel like a good number of people decided to, take it easy this
Yeah,
year, ring the new year in alone or at least at home or with, very, very select friends.
there's just a lot going on outside, man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, a lot of variants, a lot of rumors, a lot of canceled events. It's a very we are still in this position 3 years after,
Right.
and
Right.
it's like I, this thing is not going to end. So it's I think right now people's first choice is just be like, yo, let me just stay in the crib. I'm not trying to go outside and risk it. So it's a
Right.
very interesting time. You know what I mean? Definitely everybody just get safe and get vaccinated. Protect yourself.
So speaking of variants, I don't know if you're aware that there's a Flurona virus. So I don't even think it's a variant at this point. I think it's another, like a whole other entity, Flurona.
Right. What I heard was like it's influenza and the
Yeah,
COVID.
COVID is It's where influenza and COVID meet and have a baby.
Yeah, yeah. Like I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, man. I'm. It, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. This is where we're at. We need a cure. We need something. You know what I mean? This thing,
Yeah.
man, because it just seems like there's a lot of mutations, and I don't want to sound insensitive because there are people that did pass away. I actually had COVID, but um, what is going on? What is this thing really like? Because it keeps
Yeah.
mutating. Some are deadly, some are not. Some are super contagious, some are not.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
is this a real thing or is this something else? I don't know.
Well, the thing
And the
is, I
vaccine,
mean,
like.
we know it's real, but I think the question is this like naturally like coming about, or is this like man-made, as people were saying, right? Because
Right.
when I saw the article last week, I think it was, there was like a first sighting in Israel. So they're like, Israel has the Flurona virus. They had a number of people that tested positive for it. And then I think earlier this week, maybe, is when they found the case in Southern California. So apparently Florona is here in the United States. So we know if one person got it, we know New York is definitely percolating in New York. We just
Right.
don't, because if
It's only a matter of time.
only a matter of time. So yeah, I'm at this point I'm kind of like I don't even want to leave the four walls of like my house because everyone is getting sick, and then the flu is actually out there too. I have a lot of friends who are sick from the flu, not Flurona or COVID, but from the actual just flu.
Actually, can we even tell the difference now? Well, I mean, hopefully we can,
You
but like
know,
it's hard
I
to kind
don't
of tell just some cases.
I don't even know because I was looking at some things online where people are getting tested and they're saying that they're positive, but they're saying COVID, but it's actually not COVID, it's a cold. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know where we're going with this. All I can say is I hope by summer 2022 this gets resolved so that I can have some sort of life.
and we'll see. Yeah,
Right.
I don't even think that's going to happen. I mean, I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, but there's just so many different variants, so many different spin-offs of this thing. Once again, I'm just hoping that we really kind of get this thing under control. I do agree. I do really want this thing wrapped up by this summer. Fingers crossed.
Right. Fingers crossed. Toes crossed, fingers crossed. So now let's talk about your boy Eric Adams, because as we're talking about Corona, Flurona, Omicron, Delta, Epsilon, Alpha, and all them friends, it's definitely impacting the city, right? Like, I mean,
So,
the numbers are crazy. The numbers are going up. I
how did,
think. Hmm?
go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off. Go ahead. Go
Oh no
ahead.
no no! I was gonna say I think it's up to. They're saying that I guess at the start of the pandemic, the numbers are the same, I think, or at least approaching the same at the start of the pandemic.
Like as a teacher, yeah, I absolutely agree. And like the I don't know if you've seen it, but like nationwide, a lot of teachers are protesting, a lot of teachers are striking. Students aren't showing up. So even today, we had about a quarter of our kids show up. So there was only 7 kids, like 5, 6 kids
Mm,
out of like 22 kids in the classroom that showed up today. And like that's just how it's been this whole week. Like our attendance has been dropping. We usually average like a 95% attendance rate, but this week we've been averaging like a 65%.
wow.
And it's like as a school, your clients, your customers are students and families.
Mm-hmm.
Students, like the attendance rate is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
if we don't have kids in the building, as an owner of the business, as the owner of the school, is like we're losing money because we can't
Right.
fill the seats. So this COVID thing is kind of digging in the education pockets too. And I don't know what I don't know the plan is because he doesn't want to go remote. He wants everybody to be in person, which is putting the whole DOE union reps in like in a tailspin because
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be interesting to see, man. But New Jersey went remote,
Yeah, I saw
you know,
that.
so it's very interesting. I can't wait to see what's going on. But New York is struggling. A lot of people are not. A lot of teachers are not happy,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of parents are just keeping their kids home.
Right. And I had seen his press conference, the one where he was wearing the hoodie. And he was kind of talking about, I guess, I mean, I understand, I think, where he may have been coming from in that, you know, people are asking for like lockdowns to take place, right? There's all these I guess these restrictions and regulations on, how many people could be in a restaurant and all these different things that are affecting essentially, I guess, the low wage, low level worker population, right? Um, but I think the issue that presents itself is that it's safety at the end of the day, right? Like we understand that the economy has to go on, but there has to be some kind of like plan that still keeps people safe. Like with
Yeah,
schools, you're saying that you're having a 65% attendance rate because parents are keeping their kids home or their kids might be sick, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. So it's like, for me, I'm like, if this is happening across the city, why not create a remote option? Because at the end of the day, it's the kids that are losing out, right? Because they're not getting instruction while they're out.
Yeah, you're absolutely. I think some. So this is what it is, right? There's some charter networks that believe in different philosophies when it comes to like building use, right?
Hmm.
With certain charter networks, they rent from the DOE, right? They
Hmm.
rent the space. With other networks, they buy the building, then have the school in it. Certain
Hmm.
charter networks do that. Um, what happens is like if they do choose to go remote, we lose money
I
because we're
see.
paying rent on a building that we don't have, that we're not occupying.
Right.
So there might be a little bit of a push where it's like, yo, we don't want to lose money here.
Hmm.
We're gonna keep them in the building, even though the numbers are, original pandemic level numbers.
Right.
I think their rationale is like they're not dying the way they used to die. It's crazy saying it, but like
But that's
people
crazy.
aren't
That is
dying at the
crazy.
rate that they were dying earlier on 3 years ago. So it's like, yeah, we can let them rock, you know what I mean? Because they're not dying yet. It's just like a little flu. You got to be outside. You got to be home for like 3 days.
But meanwhile, they go home and they kill their abuela.
Right, right. It's a sticky situation. All logic leads for the whole thing to get shut down. Kids are not showing up. Parents are not bringing the kids to school. Kids are getting COVID. They are
Hmm.
testing positive.
Right.
Um, but we have a business to run. So
And I guess that's where the catch 22 is. Um, I think my favorite highlight of your mayor's of your mayor's speech, I guess, addressing this issue, and this is apparently a phrase that was heard around the world, was when when he stated that low skilled workers do not have the academic skills to hold corner offices.
yeah,
And there are many people who were like, well, where's the lie? A lot of people, who may or may not be seen as classists, were like, where's the lie? But then there is, the majority, I think, from the way, internet, the shade room was going, they were not having it. Like, they were just like, why? Like, who is your PR? Fire them now. Like, you are the mayor of New York. You need to be a little more tactful. Like, we had De Blasio, he's gone. You need to come in hot, and you need to come in correct. And
right.
so,
Definitely needs to be more Barack-ish.
right,
You know what
more
I mean? Like
Barackish, right?
you got to be Barack with this situation. No,
Right.
I think the gentleman misspoke. I think it was a situation where he probably didn't really understand what he was saying. There's a whole plethora of reasons why, but nonetheless, you are the mayor of the city, and you got to come correct. He misspoke. I really wish he would have resaid something different. The people that took offense to it are probably the people that did work at Dunkin' Donuts adjacent places while they were in college, while they're getting a graduate degree. So that might have stung a nerve with them,
Right.
not necessarily the person that works at Dunkin' Donuts, but the person who did work at Dunkin' Donuts who actually is in that corner suite now.
Mm-hmm.
So it was offensive, because it does speak to this great country that we live in, where it's like it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you end up and how much work you put into it. So I just really wish anybody who's on that platform can just really speak with grace and just Barack your stuff, bro. Like just be more Obama like, you know what I mean? Like talk like be a little bit more PC. Like we didn't need to hear that. You know what I mean? Now we kind
Yeah.
of know where your interest lays. Like, are you with us or are you with them kind of
What
things.
that and that's exactly what the controversy has been. The commentary has been like, people are just like, he's classist. They're like, what do you expect from a former police, NYPD police officer? Like, people are now forming all sorts of opinions about him based on, this statement of his. But hopefully he gets it together. I hope that his PR person, if they haven't been fired already, can get it together. Because New Yorkers, that's one thing you can't do. Like, you just can't come out here and say whatever you want. Like, we will retaliate. So, but let's see here. I'm not sure what happened.
Neither.
So, we're just going to edit that piece out and move to the next. All right, so I'm trying to figure out what to talk about next because there's just been so many things happening in the interwebs. I think there are two major scandals that happened this week that had everybody and their mother talking. The first being your homeboy Jim Jones and his
Oh,
and his mama,
uh,
Mama Jones. Apparently they took the internet by storm when Jim Jones came out and I guess admitted, I don't know, that his mother taught him how to French kiss when he was younger. Um, as I'm saying this, I feel like I need to throw up. I'm sure that many people had this feeling of nausea, like they just felt nauseated at the thought of his mother teaching him how to tongue kiss, like even saying it, like I want to go throw up. So Outman, what's happening with your boy? Like what's going on with your boy Jim Jones?
first of all, shout out to Jim. I'm a big Boucher fan. You know what I'm saying? Jim Jones, Capo status home.
Oh boy.
That was wild. That was wild. That was a lot. I really wish I didn't hear that. Um, I'll just say I just say this for me. I never tongue kissed my mother personally. Uh, that's just not what I saw growing up. What I did hear him say was that, yo, my mother was 17 when she had me, so she was a child. Not to say that was the reason why, but no, there's no rationalization.
There's
That's
no I'm sitting here waiting for you to
I'm
make
about
that
to, yeah,
point.
you're right. You're right. That's crazy. Uh, God bless. But a
Yeah.
lot, what a lot of people are saying too is like that's the reason why he has a certain relationship with Chrissy, right? Where it's like they never got married. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just the mother just reacts to him being with another woman in a certain way. Um, it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. I don't want to like deep analyze it, but that was just a very interesting soundbite to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely brought a lot to light for me, like you said, with his relationship with Chrissy and the mother, and that's just that dynamic with the three of them.
Yeah.
And I think that is a codependency on both of their ends, right? Because as a man, if your mother's acting up and you have a good woman, like you're gonna put your mother in her place respectfully, right? To be like, this is the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. There's certain things you just can't do. But I think because he has this, parent codependency with his mother, um, I think that that's why Chrissy, unfortunately, is going through the things that she's going through because the mom. It's when you hear people say things like, my mama thinks I'm her man, like this is like, to the 10th power. Mama Jones thinks Jim Jones is her man, because I haven't never heard or seen Mama Jones with a man. At one point I thought maybe she was playing for the other team at one point.
Wow.
But she, like, and I mean, unless she's keeping her life that private and
Nah.
it's so airtight that we can't, we just can't penetrate. But I've never seen or heard any real conversations about her having a man in her life or anything like that. And I'm wondering, I don't know what happened to her, obviously, when she was a child. All of these things stem from childhood, right? Stem,
Yeah,
stem
man.
from trauma. But for him to, I think, on national, I don't know, TV, radio, podcast, whatever, to come out and say this, I think it was just very shocking to a lot of people.
Blame it on the goose. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of alcohol, there's a lot of weed on that stage,
And
and not
Molly, apparently there must have been Molly, because weed and alcohol, weed and alcohol will get you to a certain level of truth, but that kind of truth,
Yeah,
that's
that joint is
Molly.
crazy, man. I don't that joint's a little that was a little too much for me.
That's
Because
excess.
I'm just visualizing and like that's child abuse.
Woof, Jesus.
That's a case.
That is
Like
child abuse. That is a case. Is there a
that's
statute of limitations on that? Can they still pick up Mama Jones?
probably not. They're both full adults right
Oh
now.
my God. Uh, uh.
It's I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've heard anything like that to make probably normalize it, but Not in my circles.
I
I've
mean,
never.
there was Birdman and Baby when they were, grown ass men kissing each other on the lips, talking about that's my son. I remember when that became a whole controversy, the Birdman and Baby kiss on the lips that was seen around the world.
Yeah,
There
but
wasn't any tongue slippage there, but people were still very like, these are two grown ass men kissing each other on the lips. Like, what is
yeah,
this?
that was a that yeah. I just want to go back to the other thing. I mean, it was that's a heavy topic. You know what I'm saying? Like a mother tongue kissing her child.
Right. It is a topic.
That's a problem.
It is a topic. It is a topic that I don't know. Maybe we'll get a psychologist or somebody on here to dissect that. I firmly believe it's definitely linked to trauma, especially she had it at a young age. Who knows what the hell she went through? So not to excuse her behavior, but there could be some mental illness involved. Like there's so many things that could, result in this, but it's still child abuse at the end of the day, right? Like you said,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah.
unfortunately,
Prayers for both.
right.
No
Well,
judgment.
moving on to another scandal that hit the interwebs. I mean, Tristan Thompson has been in the social media light for God knows how long, right? Because he can't stop cheating on Khloe Kardashian. Like he just can't. He can't stop cheating on Khloe Kardashian, and Khloe Kardashian can't stop taking him back. She can't stop taking him back. So as of lately, the interwebs alerted us that Tristan has impregnated another woman. I think she's from Texas. He was denying it, denying it for a while, even dogged the poor woman out on social media. And come to find out via paternity test, and I'm sure he already knew it, he is the father of this woman's baby. I think it's a
Mm,
baby boy. So a couple of stunts that I think he pulled before, once the paternity test came out and the world knew, he went and bought like, I don't know, a crap ton of roses for his daughter True, I guess, to, I don't know, soften the blow. I mean, she's a baby. I don't know what she would understand from all this, but he
He's a
wanted to,
thoughtful guy. He's a thoughtful guy.
yeah,
I think that was very thoughtful. That was very thoughtful on his part. What? It was very thoughtful.
he wanted to make a gesture. I'm about to blow up your life, and here's some roses, right? Here's some
Nah,
roses.
I ain't blowing nobody like. Nah, he ain't do that. He ain't do that.
Okay. And
Nah, he ain't
then
blowing nobody like.
and
Nah, nah, nah.
then he apologized to Chloe. I had read the apology, it is what it is, right? He apologized. I mean, but how many times? So the internet, obviously, there was so many conversations happening under the shade room. Shout out to the shade room. But one that was particularly interesting to me was this conversation on polygamy, right?
Mm,
Polygamy and polyamorous relationships, because a couple of people, under the post was like, listen, why can't you just stay single? They're like, listen, this polygamous lifestyle that he's trying to lead, um, isn't knocking. Other people were saying, well, you know what, human beings weren't meant to be with one person, so he's engaging in polygamy. That's his right. It's whatever. And so a couple of people from the polygamy community, the polyamorous community,
mm,
clapped back, in the comments, saying that do not call what Tristan Thompson is doing in these streets polygamy. Because polygamy, they have their own, like they have their rules, regulations, they have their way of doing things. It's like a sacred way, their process.
right.
Everybody knows what's going on, nobody's in the dark. As
Exactly.
opposed to Tristan, who's creeping, slipping, and sliding all over the place. That's not polygamy. Like that is just you being a dog.
Yeah,
So,
you being fair.
right. So my question to you, because a lot of people say this, and I always wanted to ask, a male, right? Um, so Tristan is out here in these streets. He's out here in these streets, smashing and thrashing, right? Why
Look,
why doesn't he just stay single and smash and thrash?
you know,
Why enter in a relationship?
These questions, man. These questions.
I mean, listen, I don't if you're single, I cannot stand in judgment. I can't say anything about you. If you are sleeping around, smashing and thrashing with 20 women, that's your business. You're single. Everybody knows it. Everybody who's joined it, like they know you're not lying to anybody. You're not saying I want to be exclusive and you got 5 in the bank. Why can't he just stay single?
You know, I don't want to say this, man, but it's like it's the truth. You know, man, it's with men it's a little different, right? I could love my girl, but like if I step out and like smack, like be engaged in like some type of affair with another woman, I have no feelings towards the other woman. It was literally just for that moment, and like I can keep it moving. So what I'm saying is, he really loves Chloe, and all these other girls are just these other girls. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say like that gives him a pass. He did slip up, and he did get someone pregnant. That was very irresponsible. But he don't love her. He loved Chloe, and Chloe know that deep down. So you can't blame Tristan. Blame Chloe. That's all I gotta say. That's all.
Oh
That's all
my
I'm gonna
gosh. According to RP family,
say.
did we make a
Chloe's
mistake? Did
fault.
we make a mistake?
It's Chloe's fault, man. It ain't free
Listen,
Tristan. Free Tristan, man.
I think it's both of their faults. I think that Chloe, at the end of the day, I mean, it could be a self-esteem thing. I mean, I've watched the Kardashians, right? From when they first started. I stopped watching whatever the last couple of years, but I was watching in the beginning. And I can say that being an amateur psychologist, and I like to dub myself, that that there definitely was self-esteem issues. She doesn't look like the rest of the Kardashians, right? She's very boxy. They say that OJ's her father. I don't know, like she's she she's tall. She was a little, like, a little, I guess, overweight, chubby, whatever it was. So she definitely had feelings about herself. And I think that those of you who used to watch the Kardashians, or who at least were familiar with Chloe, like, I don't know, several years ago, the Chloe of today is not the Chloe of yesterday. Like, I don't even recognize this woman.
Right.
She's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I don't even recognize this woman. So I definitely think that there's some self-esteem issues there, maybe some codependency issues, because she was with Lamar, during all that time when things were not necessarily the best. So she might this just might be her thing to deal with these types of men, right? um but at the end of the day, Tristan, I mean, you're out here in the public eye smashing and
Wildin'.
thrashing.
He's wilding. I think he knows that. And he needs to chill. He needs to chill. I think every guy. Listen, man. Every guy knows when it's time to chill. There comes a time where you be like, you know what? I'm doing a little bit too much. Time to chill. He's
Way too
there.
much.
He made an apology. He apologized.
How
He
many
took
times?
responsibility.
Took responsibility because the paternity
And he,
test came out. He was
he
denying it up until the paternity test.
but he could have said nothing. He could have just lived his life, but
No,
he
because he's
he wanted to
a
be
narcissist.
public.
No.
Oh God, now he's a
No,
narcissist. How's he
I
know?
mean,
How's
I
he
don't I
narcissist?
don't think now he's a narcissist. I think if we've watched his pattern of behavior, I think that one would agree that he falls into that category. If
Listen,
this was a
I'm not.
one-time thing, but it's not.
Yeah, I'm with you. Listen, he's wilding. That was very responsible. I feel for Chloe. Um, he was foul for that. 100%. I'm not sticking up for him. I think every guy's been to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm bugging. I'm doing too much. I need to scale it back. I think that's where he's at, and I wish him the best. But it takes two to tango. I'm not
It
going to sit
definitely
here and
takes
blame
two.
Tristan. It took two people. It took two people. And you also got to look at it like, you know what? If I feel like this is beneath me, I need to make a choice.
Right.
According to history, Chloe has not made that choice. So any other human being that has rational is like, okay, you're cool with it. You know what I mean? If you're not cool with it, you have all the right to leave. But she hasn't left yet. So
Right. Hmm.
what, you know what I mean? Hey,
So now I want to go back to what your boy Jim Jones comment
shout out to Jones, man. Shout out
his
to Jim.
commentary on this. So I guess it might have been the same podcast, I believe, where he disclosed to the world that him and his mother have tongue kissed. he was asked about the Tristan situation, right? And
Right.
basically he was asked like, like I guess I don't know what advice he would give to Tristan or what he would do, but then he also commented on whether or not he believed that, Chloe was going to go back, and he was like absolutely. And his rationale was that she loves this, like she's a glutton for this. She loves black men, she loves everything that black men do. And so, for me and many others, we're just like everything that black men do, like cheat, like scandal. So I don't know if Jim Jones just, was like our mayor, Eric Adams, and just didn't really, he misspoke or just didn't really speak in the right context. Or was he operating under the, diplomats, streets hat, where this is what this is part of the lifestyle, where you are here within these streets and you got a couple of women here, a couple of people there. That's what we do. That's the culture, right? NBA, hip-hop, not too different. I don't know.
Yeah, that so listen. I think you misspoke. I'm not an NBA player. I'm not a rapper. I'm a regular guy. I pay taxes. I'm a regular dude. I go to bed at a certain time, and I have to wake up at a certain time to go to work. So my lifestyle is totally different. I don't think he was alluding to that black men cheat or that black men do women dirty.
I think he
Um,
was.
no,
He was speaking his truth. It might not be your truth, but he was speaking his and his hip hop culture, NBA culture
well,
truth.
well, I want to sit here and say that not all men operate like that. Not all black men operate like that. There are faithful black men that will cater to their women out here. Uh, I'm not raising any elbows, but
well, if you know of any, could you please curate a list, because I think that the many female, according to RP fans, would love to either meet, have a discussion, have a conversation with these men. So if you can
I
curate a
got you.
list, we can post it on according to
You know,
RP on Gmail.
you'll get me in trouble for that. You'll get me in trouble, but I'll
On
see what I can do.
Instagram.
I'll see what I can do. But in all seriousness, not all men operate like that. Like I said, I think for men there is a limit where it's like, you know what, I've been wilding a little bit too much.
Hmm.
And then they do go into a cocoon, or like they try to kind of fix some things, try to dig up some childhood stuff, and then they do fix it. I think ultimately men do want to do things right, the right way. You just kind of have to come to a point where it's like, you know what, I've been bugging out. I need to get it straight. So I know a lot of men that do that. A lot of men are in therapy. They are trying to get certain things right. Not all men are about the toxic stuff. So, I definitely want to kind of change that narrative and just kind of let people know that, we do feel too, and we are trying to do the work as well to get better.
Well, I commend you for that. And I think that hopefully maybe we can use this platform to do that as well. Because to be very honest, like the narrative is, I mean, some of us, are fortunate. Like I'm fortunate to know a lot of great men. I have friends who are in amazing relationships, married, in their 30s, and in thriving relationships. I mean, do people, have issues? Are there ups and downs? Yeah. But it's, I can say that I have a decent number of friends actually who are successfully married, as successful as it could be. But I think that there still is this overarching narrative about black men in particular, and infidelity and unfaithfulness. And I think a lot of it is perpetrated by, mainstream media for the most part. Like, as much as we love the ratchet shows like the Love and Hip Hops and the Housewives and all this other stuff, that's where that messaging though is continuously playing on in our mind. So if we're trying to move away from this narrative that black men, don't cheat, but yet all we're consuming is black men cheating, music, black men,
Squad.
doing all this stuff, it then becomes a little difficult for us to really turn it off if all we're consuming is that actual message, right? So hopefully we can figure ways to kind of deprogram a little bit. But also, men and women alike out there, like, if you have issues, take your ass to therapy, get your
Yeah.
ass like a squad of friends who can hold you accountable and that are not going to support your, you know, BSery.
Right.
So
Absolutely. I agree.
yeah.
Just get right. 2022, get right.
Just get
Yeah,
right. Just get
get right.
right. You
Get
know.
right. Yeah.
So I guess more tomfoolery.
Love it.
More
Love it.
tomfoolery in the interwebs. So I don't know if you had tuned into this, but I saw the clip of the Fresh and Fit podcast. I had
Mm.
never heard of them in my life. I've never seen these scrubs in my life. I've never seen anybody post about them, talk about them. Never, ever in my life. And so recently they went viral because they were, engaging in bashing of dark skinned women. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
even say black women per se, because they said that they're okay with the red bone, but it was the dark skinned women. They proceeded to say that they don't date night riders, they don't date black women, they don't do shaniquas and laniquas, they don't dip in the dark.
They ain't never had a Shaniqua. Let me stop. I'm talking too much. Let me
Listen, well,
stop.
Shaniqua probably never wanted them. That's why they're upset. You know what I mean? But it's
Shit.
like one of them, I don't know if it's Fresh or it's Fit, is like darker than midnight, right? And he
Yeah,
has the audacity to come out and talk about dark skinned women. And so, that segment, and also the segment where Asian Doll had went on to their show, because
I
it's
saw that.
crazy how they're talking bad about black women, like they
Yeah,
wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole, but yet you had a platform or an episode where there was like a whole bunch of beautiful black women there, and you were like actively disrespecting them on that platform as well too. So there's been a lot of conversations about it, about, again, this idea that dark skinned women are, untouchable, that they are like the low of the low. So I mean, what are your
that's
thoughts on that?
first off, that's deplorable. You know what I mean? I don't think you need to build up a platform by kind of tearing black women down. Second, I love black women personally. I'm birthed by a black woman. I'm dating a black woman. I'm all about black women. Um, Third, we should not be supporting this podcast at all. We should not be supporting this narrative. I am deeply disappointed that you have, because one of them is a dark skinned man, a very dark skinned man.
Very.
But every time I will watch clips on this show, it's very contentious, very tension filled. There's a lot of people fighting and things like that. There's a lot of talking about two different parties, men and women. It's not conducive to the ultimate goal, which is partnership. So Fortune made those comments. A lot of people don't feel the way they feel, and I think everything kind of comes back around. So we'll probably be seeing the end of that narrative and that podcast in the near future, and I'm hoping for that.
I mean, I hope so too. What's really sad is that unfortunately it's those podcasts that seem to get like the high numbers, right? It's those
Yeah,
podcasts where you'll see like 1 million views, 2 million views. Like people love that type of controversy. They love that type of discourse. Even those who are speaking against, them right now, I think a lot of these individuals are still the ones that still like frequent and patron these types of podcasts. And then you have podcasts that are actually being positive that nobody wants to tune into because it's not contentious enough. So it's
right.
kind of like, what do the people really want,
Yeah, I think that's the age old question for, like, people that want to do the right thing, but we want to get on the right way, but everybody's buying the other stuff. It's a tough question. Um, but I think this is like American culture, right? Like we say we want the right things, but we can't keep our eyes off the car crash. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like we want to see a fight. You know what I mean? A fight breaks out. It's our society.
Yeah.
And it's a very unfortunate thing. I pray that we do have a cultural change where we start enjoying more positive images and more positive narratives, um, circled around partnerships, wealth building, therapy, faith, things like that. I mean, wishful thinking, but you
One
know
could
what I mean?
hope,
Like,
one can hope. I mean,
yeah. So
unfortunately,
we're
you
not.
know.
We're a long ways from that, and I'm not gonna say a lie. You know what I'm saying? I do know what's going on in Love and Hip Hop. You know what I mean? I'm all about the family reunion right now. I do kind of check in with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like,
Hmm.
I am looking out. Trying to see when Kwanzaa Crow's coming back on. You know what I'm
Oh
saying? Like
gosh.
it's what I mean, I'm outside. I'm trying to figure things out. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you better stay inside because this
nah. They said they move
Flurona.
let me tell you, they said they move a Kwanzaa crawl to the spring or the
Listen,
summer.
well, I don't know about
Let me
that
tell you
because
something.
Flurona is out here. Okay, people,
I'm gonna be right there.
listen.
That's
Flurona is
Kwanzaa
out here.
crawl in the summer.
Oh my God,
Movie.
the debauchery,
Movie.
debauchery. I
Whatever.
mean,
A
yeah,
movie.
yeah. I don't know how that's gonna work. I mean,
I'm outside.
I feel like we're all on our own right now. The CDC, unfortunately, is no longer credible. The
Tell me about it.
CDC, they tell you to get a mask. They say it's okay to wear a cloth mask. Then they say no, you got to wear a surgical mask, and they're like, no, you got to wear a N95 mask. Then so you get a rapid test, and they're like, oh, the rapid test is not accurate. And then now I'm hearing, it was an official post in the UK, that they're questioning the validity of the PCR test. So it's kind of like, what exactly do we do? First it was 10 feet, then it was 6 feet, then it was 3 feet. Now I could be in your face without a mask. It's like the guidance is all over the place. And I'm afraid with these large events, with having no real guidance, that we're never going to get out of this pandemic. Ever, ever, ever.
I'm not gonna attest to Kwanzaa Crow causing another pandemic from breaking out. Let's not do that.
First of all, that's not what I said. I said these large events, or we're gonna, because it's not gonna just be Kwanzaa crawl, right? If we're talking about opening things up to the point where we can have Kwanzaa crawls, there's gonna be Aerosmith Fest, all these other fests, or whatever the case is. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because I think that that's kind of what happened before. Like, we didn't take the time to gradually open things up. CDC was like, you don't got to wear a mask no more. That's when we started seeing shit hit the fan.
Mm.
Once they were like, remove the masks, it was over.
I listen. I totally agree. In all seriousness, first of all, shout out to all the people that probably lost somebody that probably were sick with this illness. We're not taking this lightly. I think we just want consistent answers, and I think we're demanding like what is going on right now. We're very confused. People are fully vaxxed, boosted up, and they're still catching it, and other
Yeah.
people are still catching it. It just doesn't make sense. We don't know what it means to be vaccinated anymore.
And people
As
are
a
in the
kid,
hospital. Like my
right?
uncle is still actually in the hospital right now, and he's triple vax, as they call it. Like,
It's I don't First of all, shout out to your uncle. Um, it's a tough situation. And I think the American people need an answer. We
well, I
need to
don't know
figure
where
out
we're
what's
gonna
going
get
on.
it from, because your president doesn't know what year it
Why does it
is.
gotta be my president? Why is it my
He
president?
doesn't know
Like,
what year it is. That post you sent me where he
yeah,
did an official, his first official state of the whatever, and he's like, calling it 2020, the year 2020. We're 2 years out, sir. We're 2 years out. It's not 2020 anymore.
so let me tell you something. He could have said 2019. He still is gonna be my guy because he did pause those student loan payments until May. It's gonna be a big party because
He
them payments be adding up. You
he
heard?
paused it until May, but you know what? When May come around, what we gonna do?
Oh, petition. You gonna push it back? You gonna push it back again?
You know
You gonna
what?
push?
I'm gonna hold you to that, and then if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna send Navient or whoever has my loan now. I'm gonna give
You
them
gonna
your account info
listen. Once
to
April
clear
comes
that.
around, it's gonna be a whole bunch of protests. Yeah, push it back, push it back, push it back. You look at that. You want them loans pushed back. You want the payments pushed back.
I mean, I want it canceled, so
Me
we don't
too.
have to worry about this. But I mean, I'll take the pushback. But my thing is that I'm just wondering, at what point does he just be like, all right, guys, yeah, I gotta pay this. I gotta pay this.
I'm hoping that day doesn't come. I am big into student loan forgiveness. Fingers crossed. We'll see in May.
All right, and if not, I mean, you heard it here first, guys. Albin's gonna be taking over my payments.
Oh, I listen. right
You heard it
after,
here first.
right after you called me the Kwanzaa Crow in August.
Kwanzaa crawl. Oh my gosh. Well, Nagadipue. We'll see. We'll see. Either
Well,
way,
you've been there, but you never, yeah, you
yeah,
didn't do
nah.
it.
I listen. I do my own crawls. I do my own bar crawls prior to the pandemic. I have my own route that I do. So I'm familiar with crawls. I just do solo crawls for the most part.
I I
You
feel
know.
you that That must be fun. Invite me next time. I'd like to
I
meet
will. I will let you know. I had one of my friends, one of my girlfriends, when she heard that, she was like, "I want to see this path. Like, what is
I
this?"
do too. Yeah.
So I took her. I took her on my solo crawl, and
I'm guessing you have deals too, right? The deals like drink deals at these spots that you go to.
no, I just go to. There's just certain spots that I like, right? I mean, it's hard sometimes to find a spot that really makes certain drinks good. For whatever reason, like whiskey based drinks, people mess them up easily. I don't know why. So yeah, so I have a curated list of spots that I go.
I respect it. I respect it. You know
You know
what
what
you
I
want. You know
mean?
what you want.
Listen, you gotta do what you gotta do in these streets. Times are hard, you know.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Either way, Alvin, I think it was a good show, good content. I mean, we talked a lot about the ratchetry
We
of
did.
the internet this week, but sometimes, you know, we kind of need that mix because the people are still talking about it, whether you're into it or not. It's still top news, but I think it's getting to a perspective with it, right?
Right.
I think that's important. I mean, you let us know, you let the world know that there are good men out there, that we're not, that you guys are not all like Tristan Thompson. You know, that's
Tristan
hope.
Thompson is not like all of us.
That's hopeful, right? That's hopeful. I think for women, single
But,
women out there.
but you also gotta understand something too, man. Tristan is one of 400 players on earth that's getting like millions and millions of dollars to play the sport. He stays in like 5 season hotels every time he goes out and plays. Like he's super elite. So like he's getting bombarded by like the most. I mean, listen, a lot of females are gonna disagree, but like he's getting bombarded by the most beautiful, 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 beautiful women every single night. Every night, sneaking into the hotel. He's gonna break down. Like every guy, like it's like, yo, like
So
my wife,
what's
like,
the excuse for for the dudes on Flatbush? What's the excuse for the dudes on Flatbush that some of them don't even got a job, and the woman who's taking care of them, unfortunately, is
next
getting
episode,
dogged
next
out?
episode. I can get into the next episode. Like I said,
I mean, I'm just
it's too
saying,
much.
you know,
It's too much.
what's their excuse?
It's too much. I could explain the whole thing. It's too much. But shout
It's
out to my son on Flatbush. Shout out to my son Tristan.
Oh gosh.
And we gonna make it. We gonna make it. We
Uh,
gonna figure it out.
well, we're gonna have to because this is ridiculous. Anywho, Alvin, thank you again for being here today, being attentive and being a contributor to all this tomfoolery. Um, and thank you all for tuning in to another episode of According to RP on WJMS Media, powered by Black Ivy Media. It's your girl RP and your boy
Boucher, what's going on? Have a good night, y'all. Thank y'all.
All right, guys. Talk to you guys next week.
Later.